Morning, y'all. Deb here from Dat Doings, and I had promised that some of you would get to see this creation of how to make one of these little teacup booklets. And I got my facsimile made, front and back, and also pages done. And you'll recognize maybe the cluster from our collaborative. I altered it slightly just to get the size in, but I added some bling. But then I added, things on the pages that I put in. This little book only has it has 16 pages, but it's, made from 4 sheets of paper. Yeah. Actually, it's made from one piece. Well, never mind. We'll get into that. Anyway, it gives you some idea of what's the contents. And then in the back, I just added a little tuck spot, thinking that, we could put a gift card in it if we wanted to, or, maybe, I don't know, bag of sugar, or a tea bag, who knows, imagination, whatever. Also, you'll notice poking out of the top is a stir stick that I colorized gold, and I'm holding it in there I just glued in a little strip of ribbon, and so you can see how that works. But anyway, that's the way the finished product's supposed to look, except that, of course, it all depends on your own imagination for decorating. And I apologize, I just had this morning glued on my pearls, and they haven't had a chance to dry. So I see one is popping off, but we'll give it a chance to dry on there. Anyway, let's get to going so that you can have the pleasure of making one. So here we go. We're off and running. Lay that down so it can dry. All right. First of all, you need a pattern. And I'm going to hold this here. So if you want to make a screenshot, you're welcome to do that. This is actually 3.5 wide and 3 inches essentially tall. Okay, so that gives you some reference point. You can, of course, make these any size you want, and if your hands are bigger, you may want a bigger pattern. I've made lots of patterns over the course of time, and here are just some of them, but you can get into the bigger thing. This is this is about 5.5 by 4. So this one is nearly 6 by 3.5. So whatever suits your fancy. I can assure you that the bigger you go, in some respects, the easier it'll be to make it. But I always make a couple of patterns, and excuse me, and I put them on a ring to hold them in my studio so I don't lose them, because they are kind of easy to mislay, of course. So for some ideas of where to locate them, if you're familiar with Tea Time magazine, look through there or any other home decor, and you might find a teacup you like that you can clip out, fussy cut out, and then just enlarge it, and then just go around the edge of it, of course, trace the edge, and do it on cardboard so you have a pattern. That's how this one was made. But I want to give you a couple of quick other ideas, and you might have already thought of this anyway, but if you have some great teacup stamps, I have several from Red Lead, and you can take something like this, of course, stamp it out, and then just enlarge it on a printer and fussy cut it, and there you go. That's kind of what this is about. You know, you might have to modify some part of the picture, of course, but that's okay. I'm sure you're all kind of familiar with it. It also occurred to me that you might have access. A lot of people are color book crazy. I'm not so much that way, but this is one I picked up a year or two ago at Dollar Tree, and it's called Time for Tea, and in it has any number of examples. But the thing is, you know, if you start becoming aware of teacups, if you don't have your own collection, which I happen to do, I do have, but if you don't have a reference point for some reason, you know, this is the kind of thing. Just kind of look around, and I think you'll become real aware. Another thing is, some of you might be, as I was, I have a book of templates from Stampers, and it's old. I don't know if I can get that to focus. But anyway, I think it's still available. And on page 18, oh, looky sooky, look what is there. A pattern. And let's measure it real quick just to see. I think this is kind of in between what I had already shown you. This is, let's see. Yeah, this is about 4.5 of it at its widest. And then it's just right at 3 tall, so that might be a good option. And there are some examples of things that they've done, just, you know, flat wise in here. So if you just need a simple pattern, that might be a result, you know, be in your library already. And of course you can modify it, but you see, with what you start out, you know, you just use your imagination and change the handle or change the shape of the cup or whatever, and just have fun with it and play. All right, so let's start. Let this play begin. Let me get these things out of my way. The next thing you really have to come up with after your initial pattern is decide what you're going to use for cardboard. And as you can see, this is literally just a Kleenex box that I cut, and that's what I have always used, is just Kleenex boxes, or lightweight corrugated will work also. It depends a lot on some of the other factors in the process of making these. So the thing, probably no big revelation here, but you know, you can use any kind of cardboard that you've got available. And absolutely, you know, if you need to reinforce it with 2 layers of your pattern, well, that's fine. That works. But these are Kleenex boxes, or I should just say tissue boxes, excuse me. But the advantage they offer you is they have pattern on them, and that becomes kind of a factor that if you're short on time, sometimes it's kind of neat to have these available, because then, see, if you had this one as an example, if this was all you had left, like that's all I have left of it, well, there's not enough left here to make the pattern double, okay? So, but look at here. This flap would work. I could make that work. And I could make that work, okay? Now, the thing to realize about this is that's 2 single pieces. And that's the way the little teacup was made that you saw on my other film, which I think was the first released one from Collaboration. And I did that because that little book was, I believe it was 10 or 12 pages, which, you know, makes for a lot of content. And because I needed more width, you know, for the pages to be in there, that's why I chose to do without a fold on the side. And we're going to make one today that uses the fold, because that's makes it faster for you to make it. But this is a good way to do it too. If you have scraps that aren't, you know, quite accommodating a fold, then you know, that's how you get around that. Okay, the other thing that you have to consider is what your paper source is, and I'd imagine all of us being paper craft people, I mean, you know, there's just so many choices to make, and absolutely anything you have, you know, is going to be fine. One consideration is the crinkle factor. Sometimes you want more of that than you do other times, and, you know, or you might want a different kind of crinkle. This is some dyed tracing paper. This is some parchment. Oh, this is a scrap with metallic drips on it that I'd made when I'd made a jelly print and I wanted to liven it up a little bit, I guess. Anyway, you know, here's just, you know, a piece from off of my desk when I've been doing something. And just as a reminder, always a great opportunity to use up some of your scrap of, oh, what do you call it? What do you call it? Scrapbook paper. Yeah. So anyway, you could, but I've made pages with brown paper sack. I mean, just anything works. So don't let that be a problem. Think in terms of a lot of the other books and journals you've made. Now, let's talk a little more about pattern, because what we're going to need to do is make take advantage of the fold in your cardboard and make yourself a double pattern like this, and I'll show you why that's good. Now, let me grab, and then you're also going to need to make an insert page pattern from this, and where that comes in is look at the bowl of your cup, and I like to extend it down just a little ways, and see that's going to be the bottom of the page. The other thing that you can do on this pattern is mark off along one edge 3 spots that you're going to want to put hole punctures in for your 3-fold pamphlet stitch. The other one, you know, don't really have to mark, but I did do a little bit of some of the extra work you see on these is because I want to show you some other things you have to consider. All right, anyway, the other thing, this line you see here is where your page line, I mean not your page line, excuse me, the edge of your fold is going to pretty close to that will be when you get your book made, when you're, you know, folding it, you know, on the outside. But actually it's a little off because this dotted line really should be just to the other side almost of the hole punches. But basically, I'm sure you get the point of all of that. Okay, let's see what else we need to know. Okay, so let's see how this kind of works as we lay one out. So I've got 2 pieces here. I've kind of already shown you what you have to do. If you have a piece that's just already, you know, loose, you're going to need to lay your pattern out twice. You know, I'm sure that would make sense to you. But the only consideration when you lay things out on these is if you've got something like this in the way. And if you do, sometimes there's a way to work around that. Let's see if we flip this up and move it down, we might be able to make the edge work a little different here and just completely avoid something like that. Because this is straight, you know, you wouldn't be so fortunate. Oh, but look what happens if we turn it this way. We can avoid it. We can absolutely get 2 patterns out of this. So, you know, just be considerate of whatever is there. The other thing is, you're going to need to mark this for easeability. You're going to want to mark it on the other side. So you want to remember what's on the reverse side if you're trying to avoid something. Sometimes that just can't happen, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what we really want to look at is a situation like this where we have the benefit. Oh, I picked up the wrong piece. Well, okay, I'll show you how to line this up because that's all you really need to know anyway. Let's pretend. Oh, no, here. Wait. Never mind. Hang on. I know why I put this out. Sorry. I was going to show you that, like on a piece like this, even don't not consider end flaps, like this, because a lot of times you'd be surprised at the scrap that you can actually use. Okay, now I've got my thinking cap on. This is why I wanted to show you this. If we take that long piece and fold it in half, and if you have a bone folder, great. If you don't, well, you can use the back of a blade of this back side of the blade of your good scissors will work, or a spoon. They're neat. You know how to adapt, I'm sure. Anyway, so now, excuse me. You're gonna have your fold to do, and so hang on a minute. Okay, we're gonna put this about right here, and what you want to do is make enough contact with this fold that we've just made that's going to benefit you to keep the cup handle together as you work. Something that works real good too is if you have a straight edge that you can line up to and then clamp it before you try to make your pattern. Of course, that works great. But then it's just a simple case of, draw around it. And I'm going to be speedy on this, so I don't know. And, you want as good a accuracy as you can get. But, of course, sometimes you're in a hurry or who knows what. You can't do that. So you end up with, oh, I forgot something. Goodness. Now, let me just grab that in here. Okay. So now we have our pattern, right? Leave this out. Okay. So then you need a sharp pair of scissors, something that's going to be very durable. And you're going to, you can leave your clamp on. Maybe I'll show you that way. You can leave your clamp on. Sometimes that creates a problem for you, but it might get in your way. Okay, so then you're going to just, cut your pattern out. And I'm doing this, as you can see, in smaller sections, but we're not going to worry about that either. Okay, so we're cutting. And if you have a curved spot, sometimes that's kind of tricky. If you have to overcut a little bit, it's probably not going to matter too much. I know you're getting a weird picture here, but it's the best I can do. I don't have the greatest equipment, as I'm sure you all figured out. But I might be getting better here. We'll see. Okay, about got it. Okie dokie. All right. Get this mess out of the way. And so basically we've got that cut out, and then of course it's just a matter of, cutting out this hole. And of course you can imagine what I may go through on this, but I guess I don't have to hurry so fast, do I? I don't know. I don't want to make this look too complicated is the thing. because it really isn't. It's so easy to do these once you kind of get into the flow of what you're supposed to be about. And naturally, trying to demonstrate this and keep it where you can see it and so forth makes me a little bit nervous, but you know what, we'll get through it because it's worth it to show you. Okay, now the problem usually with this is, of course, getting all the way through the depths of things, which would be no surprise to you, I'm sure. So let me just keep at it a little bit longer, and I'll have that one aside then. Okay. And then I risk a little bit by doing it this way. Whoops. The blades clear out. The problem with doing this, of course, is if you'd happen to accidentally overcut. But like I said, if you overcut something, I'm sure you can figure out how to correct for the problem you've made. Okay, there we go. Got it. Now, let me put this away before it gets in my way. All right, so now we have our pattern made. See? Isn't that cool? One thing that you want to realize is that, you know, you need to punch those holes, and I'm going to go back over here. I should have marked this as we were doing our thing. Oh, I bet I can't use that side, can I? I gotta use this side. Okay, I have some paper issues with my sample. I hope that goes through. Not sure that it is. Yeah, it did. Awesome. Awesome, dude. Okay, here we go. Now, the question is, do you have a punch like this? This is, I think I got this through the jewelry department at Hobby Lobby. If you don't have one, they're not too expensive. And, well, didn't used to be. Everything, price of everything is tea in China is going to be more expensive too, isn't it? Anyway, once you have those marked, you're going to need a device like this, or an awl will work. No reason it can't. This is just super, super fast. And on my hands, it's pretty easy to use. Okay. So now we have our holes marked, and we did them all at once. So you can see we got the two sets. Now, the thing I wanted to show you is as you get going on this, the process becomes very handy for doing a lot of work on several at once. And so here, you know, I've already done these two, but look, here's two more to do. And, you know, so you can assembly line these. If you have a emery board, you're going to need to go around the handles and knock off all the rough edges. The curvature, you know, you want to try to reestablish the curvature of the handle around the tips, maybe, of the cuff to kind of soften that edge. Just knock it off slightly, and you can see I'm doing this 2 layers at once. That speeds the process up also. And down here, my cup kind of has a bit of an edge or a saucer showing, but it may just be the way the cup's made. I don't know. Use your imagination. Anyway, I just know I want that slightly rounded. So this is where, again, if you've overcut or you've, you know, lost part of your cup for some reason, this might be a time to fix any issues you've got. The other thing I like to do is, at this point, I can use my emery board to do this, but it's much faster to use one of these sanding blocks. Again, this is just something I get at Dollar Tree, but just knock off the surface of your cup. You want to rough that up, because for the next things that you will plan to do with it, it just helps you get further along faster if you've done this. And it doesn't take long. And again, you might want to go the length and edge of the cup itself. I don't know how much of that you can tell, but you can see how it's roughed up. Consequently, things are going to adhere better. Now, I'm sorry if I'm insulting your intelligence, because a lot of you would just know to do these steps that I'm showing, but maybe some of you haven't done all of these kind of things, and so, you know, let's be kind to each other and understand and have patience. Okay, so that's probably good enough. All right. Now, the next thing we got to do is make some considerations. I now have 2 blue cups that I could do, and I have 2 red cups I could do. And, oh, here's, let's see, was this my other cup? No, I don't know where. Oh, here, it's over here. And I have a yellow cup. I have a yellow cup that I worked on to do. And this is actually the cup I'm going to work on. So let me get these out of the way. Point being that if you have assembly line work to do, try your best to think outside the box and think of a way to get through each step with everything all at the same time if possible. Because if you want to make some of these for Christmas, just so much quicker and easier naturally if you can do each step as you go. Anyway, some things I want you to think about. Let's look at this cup. This cup had the cutest design on it of kind of like a mum. And I thought I was going to be able to have that enough exposed on both sides that it would make such a cute little cup, but it didn't work out that way. So I applied just some, I had a, what are these? 7 by 4. Let's see. Here's my, here we go. I'm not enough of a scrapbook person to know measurements, so don't. Yeah, so that looks like it's 7 by 4.5. Anyway, these pads that you may have are just great for, you know, coming up with paper to cover up with on a piece like this. This had a lot of advertisement stuff on it. And so I wanted to block that and cover it up. And if I was making this one for purposes of giving away tomorrow, I would not have chosen this paper. It's just that it was a piece I wanted to get rid of, so I thought, okay, and it'll show up good maybe in the camera. Anyhow, just know it's for demonstration at this point, but I think I can still use it. Anyway, moving on. Oh, okay, so here's what I wanted to tell you at this point. So, you know, if you've got some paper that you want to get rid of, it's a good time maybe to use that for, you know, blocking out something that you don't want visible. Here's a better example on my little yellow cup that I was really going to do with you. See, I didn't have so much to block out, and I tried to choose something that was a little more compatible with what was already on the box. You can see down here, I've got a little something here, but I know that this is going to become my front. So I really don't care that that's there, because I'm sure in the course of things that's going to get covered up. It's not even going to matter that it's here. That's why it's like that, okay? Another thing, though, that you could consider doing, if you're a sewer at all and you have scrap fabrics, you know, pick something out that you think might be pretty and apply it to the front to cover the whole thing up. And just use something like matte medium or whatever your favorite adhesive is, and glob it on and smack that down. Let it dry, and then cut it out and you're ready to go. Now, something that I wanted to show you too, if you're not maybe into teacups and your friend is and you're making it for them, I want to show you how that turned out when I did it on this one. Isn't that cute? Yeah, I just think that's cute as can be. And I like calico teacups. I think they're cute. This one then, on the inside, I went ahead and put a little gesso on it for a primer, and then just painted it with some acrylic paint. If you don't want to put some kind of a primer down first, you don't have to. There's so many choices. The other day when I made this one that I showed you, I didn't use a primer, but I used some Mod Podge because I wanted to try. I hadn't used this Glimmer, I think it's called Glimmer something, and they usually only put it out at Christmas time, but I wanted to try some on here to see how that would cast, you know, a little bit of shine. And so I thought, okay, there we go. That's enough. I don't care that the brown of the cardboard shows. I'm going to edge with brown, etc. So, you know, it's just like everything else. There's just, it all goes into your imagination of how you want it to end up looking. But I did want to point out that, you know, you can see, I think you can see the potential in things that are more calico-like. They're just cute, but I think this contemporary piece would look really pretty. And you might have some batiks and things that would be fun, but don't, you know, I mean, literally, I went through a stash and cut these are like 7 inches by 3.5 or 4 inches, because I know that's all the fabric I need for making some of these. And I thought, let's just get a stack ready so that as I go through, because like I said, I showed you, I've got red and, what were these? Red and blue, I guess. I can't remember colors. I'm sure you can't either always. Yeah, I've got blue and I've got red. Well, these might be fine for Christmas or a patriotic holiday or who knows what. But, you know, I know that I might rather use fabric. So that's why I went ahead and got some ready. That's what I mean by assembly line it a little bit. Okay, now let's get back to this. After you've got your piece made, probably the biggest decision now you have to make is, okay, is this going to be my front with the handle on the left, or is this going to be the front with the handle on the right? From here on out, it won't matter. But sometimes you can confuse yourself as you're working on these things. Believe me, ask me how I know. And it's important to maybe mark the front from the back, okay? Because I know I want to use the front, this for the front. I'm going to put this sugar packet. That's empty, of course. I've put a little antiquing on there. And I'm going to, or edge, or whatever you want to call it, I can't think. Anyway, I'm going to just put that on with a paper clip for now, because what I am going to do with it is glue it down eventually and, you know, tuck a little something in there, use it like a pocket. All right, now, so we've gotten this far. The last real step in this, I guess, let's see, have I covered all my bases? I just got to check. Oh, here, wait a minute. Nope, there's something else we want to do here. I almost forgot. Okay, when you're at this point, get out, if you're gonna want to use an ink to rub the edges, or you're going to use some kind of a metallic, or if you could even use paint. Like, probably wouldn't pick pink for this, but I mean, you know, if there's anything you want to go to trim with, because if you look at real teacups, a lot of times, you know, they're edged with gold, or they're edged with silver, or they're, you know, the artist that designed them may have done some edge work. Like if this was a real teacup, maybe they would have gone here. You can see maybe what I did was I just took my rubber and I went along here. Because I kind of want to think that that's going to show up at some point. I don't know if it will or not, but at least if I need it to, it's done. So now I'm just edging this. Yes, I had preloaded my ink on here. I cheated. But, you know, the idea is just to get a little started on this part of it. So I sometimes will even go just remotely over those holes because sometimes that's a good thing to do too. I guess that paper clip's almost in my way, isn't it? I'll just scoot it right down. There we go. We have to have access. Okay, so that's just a quick thing to do right now. And when I'm doing these in my studio, I use my fingers a lot of times for the metallic edition of things. Can be messy, but I just want to show you a little bit of that. Let me think. How do I want to do this? Sorry, talking to myself now. Nobody does that but me, right? Okay, let me get that out of my way. All right, let's see. I hope. Yep, good. Let's see here. I'm just gonna drag a little bit of that along. I like to work with my hands. I can feel the surface and I can get a sense of what I'm trying to do. But if you don't like that kind of way of doing things, don't worry about it. Do it your way. You know what you like to do. Okay. And let's see here. If you work fast enough on this, if there's something you don't like, you can remove it with a little bit of a damp cloth. I want to remove some of this, but not all of it. I don't know. Maybe wait, it might have gotten too dry. I can probably go, making it worse. It's probably not going to matter, though, by the time I get done with this, so I'm just going to leave it. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Sometimes, too, when you do things like this, it creates the concept of a shadow, and I can imagine, I think I'll hit this. See, this is what I mean. Even this kind of stuff. See how that's going to begin to make it look rounded a little bit? So you want to think a little bit maybe about how the light might shine on your cup, you know, to give it character. Rub this a little bit here. Okay, I think that's good. Let me see this back again. Ooh, we got a little work to do here. Okay, I'm gonna... It's sort of magical the way these transform. That's part of what's such fun. You just, when you get all finished and you look at them, you go, wow, how can this just be as simple as being a cereal box or a, you know, a gift wrap box or whatever. It just, you know, and you'll see what I mean as you work. They're fun. They're really fun. Okay, we're going to call that good. Put the toys away. I hope you saw some of that. I'm not completely sure you did, but I think you're smart. You'll know what to do. Okay. So now, see, I've already lost my front from my back because the paper clip, but I want this on here, so... The reason I'm just paper clipping this is because in my mind's eye, I haven't as yet decided for sure about this little yellow teacup. But I did want to show you something about the process with it because you'll see why. All right, here in a minute. Okay, now we haven't talked much about the pages, so let's go flip over to the pages real quick. And I have my pages ready. I've cut them all out. Okay, wait a minute, let's go like this. These have to be cut double also, and if you remember the pattern along this edge is where you need that to line up with the fold. Let me show you here how that's going to work. No, you can hardly see. Well, we'll make it work. Okay, hang on with me. Okay. So maybe if I just darken this, I know it's papers. Not, well, that didn't work. What I'm concerned about is that you can see in the camera. I didn't have anything to worry about. Okay, anyway, so from here to here is that place for the fold for the pages to be, and that lines up then here. Okay, so we want that to stay together, because that very first hole that we've got there, although we're going to start down here, that's going to hold everything to the cardboard you're using. That's why it's so important that that you don't cut these in half. Now, that one, let's see, the one that you saw in my previous pictures, you know, honest to goodness, I can't remember if I slit this or not. I kind of think I might have done that, because it had so many pages. I'm not going to swear to that, but I kind of think I might have. But let's just look here for a minute. I wanted to show you. This is 1, 2. Oh, and by the way, that's tea bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, did you hear that crinkle? Okay, so we've got 5 sheets. So we've got 5 times 4 is 20. So this has got 20 places to put decorations or note lines or whatever you can dream up to put in yours. That might be a good thing about, you know, when you use different types of paper and different kinds of stain or dyes or whatever you've got in your arsenal of paper. Because you know what, when you get into this, you may get bored with trying to decorate it all, because you're in such a small space. You may decide, I don't want to go to all this work. It could just be any number of things holding you back a little bit. Now I'm going to show you here too another thing I thought about doing. So I went ahead and fixed it because I didn't want to take your time. But I just took a piece of scrap paper that had, I was working on one of these, and I just wiped some of the metallic on it, and I just tore it, and then I trimmed it down, and then added a scrap to the top. I thought it kind of looks like a bowl now, doesn't it? And glued it to my back page, and I don't know what you can tell about that, but you see, it's a pocket. Yeah, that's going to hold this stirrer instead of that ribbon. But, you know, whatever you can think of. And if you have made junk books and so forth, you probably already see the whole of the picture as far as anything you do in a bigger book you can do in this if you've got space. That's the main consideration. Okay, now I think we're ready to stitch. And for this, I like to use one of these. This is a curved needle, and I really like to work with that. If you don't have one, though, you don't have to have one, just because you don't. For me, it just works best. Okay. Now, the biggest trick on this, of course, is lining up your pages. And I think I'll take this little stir stick out. And, you know, it's kind of cumbersome. When I really do this for myself, and I'm working in isolation in my studio, I'm not trying to do it for other people to see. You know what? I don't think. That page. Oh, yeah, it did. Okay. I'm going to line these up on, usually I use a heavy-duty straight needle. But here I'm just using a straight pin, so, you know, whatever works. Anyway, it helps to get that lined up when you begin to line up the holes. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can't see what I'm doing. I think maybe I have another pin here I need to use over on this side. I wonder where that hole went. I don't know if that's going to be a problem. This is the first time I've tried tea bag paper. But I thought, hey, I've got some, why not put it in this? All right. Oh, I know something I forgot to tell you about this. It's sort of common sense, but maybe I should repeat myself on this. Okay. Be sure when you get your these little pages ready that you compress the fold line as best you can. Okay, now let's see if we can get this lining up good enough to go on. Also, don't be surprised if some of your papers are longer or shorter. If you're a junk journaler like I am, I don't get bothered by things like that. But if that bothers you, you can trim them off so they're all very symmetric. That's not a problem. I hope this works for me. Okay. I see other people make books in videos, and this is the first time I tried this, so I can see already how this is going to be a little nerve-wracking, but we'll get it to work. I was trying to keep this to about 45 minutes to an hour, and I can see it's going to go an hour, so I apologize if you don't have an hour to watch this thing, but if you're to this point with me, you probably can figure it out on your own anyway. Okay, let's get ready here and stitch this in. I really won't need this as my marker anymore, so I'm going to move that out of the way. Because at this point, it gets kind of tricky. Okay, we're going to start from the outside and go through with our needle and line it up with the back one and go to the back side and pull it through. This is the hardest part of the whole book, I think, other than maybe trimming out your handle. Okay. Well, that was easy enough, wasn't it? Oops, wrong pull. Other one. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to hit that I don't know that you can see what I'm doing. If you've never done a pamphlet stitch, it might be good to watch this. Okay. Then I'm going to go through here, through all the holes that I've punched. I thought about those two on the those of you that have a crocodile, isn't that what it's called? I have one of those, but mine's the smaller one. And I really wouldn't recommend using it unless you just can't do your holes any other way. I'm sorry, my hand's in your way of seeing, isn't it? I'm trying here, folks. Okay. Almost accomplished it. There we go. Okay. So now see, we're going through the bottom. I'm going to pull that through. We're going to pull through. Sometimes I think you have to be a football player to pull these through. Okay. Now we're going to pull that up and out. And we're going to go to the top one. And we're going to go in from this side again. By this time, it's almost to the point I can, yeah, look, see? Yay! Okay, I'm going to take that out. And I'm going to pull it again. At this point, too, sometimes you'll feel like, oh, my pages aren't going to line up. But you'll get it. It'll be fine. Okay, let's pull that other. But there again, it's like any other crafting you do. If you at some point you do something wrong, just unlace it and start again and figure it out. You will not be able to believe how you can pull this off. Now, I'm not... Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, for my last hurrah here. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Maybe I should show you in case you haven't done this before. I'm just tugging around on my string. This is some paper string I had. Usually I'll use twine or whatever floats my boat, but this is what I picked out of my war chest, so this is what I'm using. Okay, let's see here. This is okay. Now we're gonna go back through that middle hole and go up, and as it comes out so nicely, I've got to put this string on the other side of my, there we go. Okay, see how that works? Because that's the secret of this type of a stitch, if you haven't done one before. See why I like this, by the way. See how I can wrap that around my fingers, and that helps me pull it. And with some of the arthritis issues I have in my hands, let me tell you, I'll take all the help I can get. Okay, so see, I'm pulling that pretty tightly, and now I'm ready to really just roll. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take my needle off before I get stabbed. Or maybe I don't have to take it off, but I'll get it out of the way. Okay. Clip that off. Put that away. Okay. Now I'm just going to tie a knot here. And some people suggest that if you tie it one way, then you bring it through the other way the next time. And oh, Lord have mercy, I've probably done a lot of books wrong. I try, but I'm not perfect. Okay, now I'm just going to make a bow. This is pretty stiff, but it's kind of cute. I kind of like that. Now, I don't know. You know, with some of the strings, of course, you know, I'll knot it. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be an issue, but I think I will tie a knot here. And I do want to show you just a little fun thing to know about if you don't know about it. Here, and let me pull this one back, and I go for symmetry on knots, but really it's just the issue of keeping your thread pieces together so it doesn't fray off at some point, because some people get freaked out by that. Okay, here we go. We've got knots. We've got them trimmed. Now then, okay, what did I want to say here? Oh, knots. I like that shorter. Do you like that shorter? I think that's kind of cute. I like that better than those floppy ones. I'm going to leave it like that. Isn't that cute? Now, this is what I wanted to show you. If we didn't do another thing to this, look what a nice little notebook it would make. Okay? Now, see how I bent that back? That's your fold that I was talking about. See how that automatically makes it stand up. And we haven't done anything. We haven't done anything at all to this to decorate it. But, oh, the fun begins. But this is, what did I say? 5 times 4 is 20. There are about 20 page spaces in here. 20 sheets. Plus, we've got the little place to tuck my stir stick right in front. I'd have to paint this if I was going to put that in there right now, but I'm not. Yeah. Let me get this out so I don't forget to tell you about that. Okay. Let me look at this. Now I want to show you something. Look how different these look. But aren't they both equally as cute? I think they are. And if you don't have a lot of time and you want to make one of these, just keep it simple like this, and maybe not even do more to the front. Maybe just work on a few of the pages. One of the tricks that I can tell you on decorating these is if you go with odd numbers and you go through and go through your, like if you're a planner person, you use planners, use a bunch of your little leftover stickers and whack those down and put those on every other page or every page, or who knows, or draw some lines, just with an ink pen of some kind, and make a place for people to write. Or um, if you have some pre-printed out things, this is on fabric, this is on paper. If you're a planner person, and truly I am not, these are leftovers that I just had hanging around. That get your washi tape out and just use 3 pages of washi tape, and you're done. I tried for the first time. I had some of these little paper flowers that are so sweet, and I used that. The other thing I'm proudest about, that's sometimes the little inventions. See this? I just put a glue line right across the top here, and I used some of this new rolled up tulle that's such a hot item at Dollar Tree this season. And, well, don't you think that looks like steam coming out of the cup? I do. I'm impressed. Okay, now I wanted to compare these two strings because a lot of times this floppy kind is what I prefer to use. But the other thing I want to look a little closer at is see how when I tied it off, like there are 3 knots on this side and there are, I think, 4 over here. Yeah, there are 4 if you count. And so that's 7. Okay, I always think in terms of odd numbers because they're more pleasing to the eye. But the thing about the knots that I wanted to share, I went to floral school at one point, and the thing is, you may not have noticed this ever, but some florists in their designs tie the ribbons in knots on, especially on bridal bouquets, and the attendants bouquets and so forth, or you can even request that they do that, because that's a symbol of well-wishing, of affection, kisses, hugs, whatever you want to think of it as. And I just think it's a simple way to add a little bit more of something fun. And you can, if you really have the time to do it, you can take a seed bead, string it up the thread, and then tie your knot below that. And that just puts a lot of sparkle real quick to the ribbon too. So, it's so much fun things. This morning, I tried this too, by the way. I just used not magic marker, permanent ink, to doll up these pearls, and then I just tipped and worked around the flower edges, also, and the leaves to just bring them out and make them stand out a little bit. But anyway, let's see. Let me think. Well, okay. Let me put these up here as a prop. Let me show you this again to remind you about that. I'm not going to take the time to put my tag thing in the back there, but I wanted, one more thing I almost forgot to share about. Let me take this one back here where we can see. If you have cupcake things, I can never remember what they're called. They look cute poking out, and they're seasonal. Look at this one. Look how that changes this. If I tuck, let me get this out of the way. If I tuck this fall leaf poking out, see how cute that is? I'm telling you, your imagination can run wild on these things, and it's just something to keep you busy and happy, and we all need some of that, don't we? And here's another one I got tons of different options for those. I I've got some for Christmas that are just a hoot. But anyway, but you know, this is what brought us here. Were all of those little, I'll try to back this up so you can see better. Get this out of your way. It was those clusters, you know. It was because of those clusters we made these little books. And I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you'll put some of your clusters on your book. And this one is probably going to get the benefit of that cluster on the front of it, but I'm going to put it up a little higher. And so notice what that says. It says, specially blended for friends and family. I guess you guys are part of that for me. And so there you have it. Looks to me like we're right at an hour on this. I'm sorry if you didn't have time to watch the whole thing. And if you did, thanks for surviving me. I don't know when I'll be putting up new videos, but hopefully my improvement in managing videos gets better and better every time. We'll see, won't we? Well, have a great one. Get ready for the holidays. Enjoy making clusters. And just in general, be so thankful for everything that's around you, because even the little stuff like that, this stuff is what's important. All right. Love y'all. Bye.